We are live.
Hey,
There we go.
hey, there it is.
Everybody, welcome to City Love Speaks. I am one of your hosts, Dre Fields, Dre in the City. Then we have Steve Moscos and
Hello.
Jamie and Michael Williams. With
What it
us.
do?
I was like, yeah, it's going to be three of us tonight. Tabitha is doing COVID work with them creating a plan.
We love you,
In
Tabitha.
private schools. We miss you, Tabitha.
Yeah.
And our resident diva, Dwayne, is on set right now.
Make that turn.
Right.
Make that turn, bro.
So we're like, it's a whole situation in that sense. So, hey, it's the three of us, which
We got this.
it's boys' night out. Like we're calling
Hey, turn up. Cheers to
Yes.
that. Mhm.
Point, cheers.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we should just get started with like
Jumping.
what's been happening, and so I want to start off with a huge congratulations for Issa Rae. She
Yeah.
did a stellar job
Brilliant.
of hosting SNL for the first time in a pandemic with the very depressing Justin Bieber as her special musical guest. Oh my God. I was like,
Yeah, I could talk about
I
that.
needed therapy. Both his performances where I love Chance the Rapper. That like I secretly have a little crush on Chance the Rapper, but I think that's just, that I think that's the Kojic in me. I think that's that whole church boy upbringing. But even the song he did with Chance the Rapper, that is a very uplifting song, wasn't very like it didn't come off.
I didn't watch him.
Oh, see, lucky you. Lucky you.
I have to say
Yeah.
that, especially that first song, and I don't know what happened to him, and he just got so emotional, he bent all down. I was like,
Yeah, I was
I
like,
don't feel bad, bro. What is that? What are you doing? You have stomach ache, tummy ache? What's wrong?
well, I was like, maybe he convicted by the Spirit. Maybe that's what's happening.
No, because
I was like,
if they are, we would feel it too. So it's like,
Well,
no pass.
I was trying.
Hey, I give it to you, but no.
Weird.
But so
It was.
I often skip the musical guests, so I guess I need to like go back and look at that.
yeah,
Weird.
well, sometimes the musical guests are good. Sometimes I skip the musical guests too, just because.
Right.
I don't really care for them. I don't like.
Right.
But Issa Rae is, getting a little backlash from Kanye because of the skit that they did on her rooting for everybody black and really
Right.
coming up with very creative ways for being okay with the fuckery of black people in politics and doing things. But when it came down to Kanye, she was like, F him. It was like,
Yeah.
It was epic. That one little piece was just epic. I was
Right.
like, yeah.
Oh man.
funny, but the backlash has been, which I kind of gonna give Kanye some props. He didn't come for Issa. He actually came for SNL.
He did a little bit of both.
True. Yeah.
He really was like, Issa's all right
Like-
with him, Issa,
Right.
and to the point where it was like, more than definitely, they probably, even though Issa, she probably really felt that way, but Issa didn't write that. She didn't write it.
Right.
One to the point where I know she didn't write it because it would have been funnier. Like that,
Right.
that whole situation would have been way funnier. I was disappointed they didn't do Black Jeopardy with Issa Rae.
Oh yeah. That would have been
epic.
fun.
That
Yeah.
would've
I'm a
been
little
fun.
surprised,
Yeah.
especially now since Leslie is gone. Leslie Jones is gone. She's doing her own show on ABC. As a host for a supermarket show, whatever, which is her dream job. So kudos to her.
Sweet.
Excited. But I was like, it would have been a great time to like introduce Punky Johnson as her replacement in, as like
Yeah.
in Black Jeopardy. Issa in Black Jeopardy, I think would have been hilarious because all of her answers would have been very California,
Right.
Mhm.
which you don't get. So it would have been very almost Republican, but black. So it would have been really funny
Yeah.
in
Well,
that sense. So I was a little disappointed about that. I think her best skit was the dates.
I was just about to say that. I thought that was the funniest one.
the dates were just that was epic right there, especially toward the end. The chick came, who's this bitch? I was like, oh,
Oh,
But that was the
Oh, my
brilliant part
God.
about it was,
that was epic.
but it reminded me so much of Insecure.
Yeah,
because
literally.
it was
right.
so on the surface. They didn't go deep because when like one, I was like, well, how dumb are you, dude? And she was like, well, no, I told you. He was like, I told you I was a princess. He was like, I just thought your daddy was rich. I was like, that's
Yeah.
not a black response, dude. That's like,
Yeah.
like, are y'all trying to bring in Coming to America in this thing? Help me get it. I thought it was really bizarre.
I thought like Keenan's timing during his one, it was just so good. It was just like
Yes.
so flat, great, like pausing, kidding me,
But I thought-
hanging out.
But the opening
Like,
was
did you want to buy a flower, brother?
right. Karate Man is still my favorite of all the dates.
Oh yeah, chop chop. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Oh my god.
I was like, yeah. But the opening I thought was horrible. Like to me, the best part of the whole opening was the woman nodding with the mask, like from the actual like that factor. I thought was kind of funny, but it was. I don't know. I think they're trying too hard, and it's not this hard. It's kind of why I think I love Alec Baldwin as Trump because he's not trying very hard.
No.
And
doesn't.
it works. Like it so works.
Yeah.
But,
It does.
like
I don't know. It doesn't work. Yeah.
Trying so hard to be, and there are moments where it's like he is Joe Biden, and then he does this creepy thing, and then he's Fire Marshal Bill.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Fire Marshal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, so I thought it was weird. I'm going. This is trying really way
Right.
too hard.
Yeah, I mean, part of me is like the only joke with Alec Baldwin is just that Trump's words are so crazy that if you hear someone else say them, it's funny. And then that's not true of Joe Biden. And so they have to come up with another joke. They're failing to do it. And quite frankly, I don't know about you. It sounds like no. I think I'm tired of the Alec Baldwin shtick. I think that they aren't really trying to tap in to something new that might be funny about what's going on.
I also think that they're trying to even it out, so they don't.
Right,
so
which they can't do. Yeah,
which you can't do because Trump is a whack job. Like Orangina is a whack job. There's no way around it. He's a full whack job. So
overall, with SNL, they have to stick to that formula. If it's not broke, don't fix it. It's just like, okay, keep it right there with Baldwin. Keep it there with him.
Yeah.
Because love Jim Carrey, but he took it on the over. And it's like, okay, even though, yes, we know Captain Orange Poop is over the top, but yeah, he took it way over. And it's like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, he switched into Fire Marshal Bill. I'm like, who are you again? So, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's move on.
I also think, call me crazy. Well, I'm happy to move on. Never mind.
No. Call you crazy what?
I was just going to say, call me crazy, but I feel like the opening segment is not always and has not always been political. But I can't help but feel like for the last 3 years, it's basically just that's where we get the political thing.
Well, that
I think I'm ready for that to be over.
And the update, yeah. And I think
Yeah.
once Biden becomes president, it won't
Pretty good.
the White House won't be comedy relief. Like it's like you need comic relief with the White House right now. So
literally,
the White House has
Right.
been giving us from the press secretary, like every press secretary has been. They've done all of them, but Kylie.
right.
So because they've all been horrible. Kylie's the worst. Well, Spicy is still, I think, the worst of all of them. But but like she said, calling crazy. I'm like, no, and I was like, which sends us right into the mental health check-in. Damien, all you.
Hey, my beautiful people. I'll start off with myself today. After reviewing and going through all the articles and interviews of the craziness, the insane debauchery that's going on in this world, I literally had to turn everything off because I still feel a mild tone of just the overload. So that's why even though I have my wine, I also have something a little bit stronger if need be. But yeah, overall, I'll say considering I'm well. These are one of the times I really have to grasp all of the things I have to be grateful and thankful for, or just look at something positive. I don't care what it is. It could be a symbol, it could be a cartoon, I don't care. It's just like, okay, what in my life or around me that can just spring up some strength, some joy, some encouragement, some hope. Because even I have to, and I really want to share this with you guys, is because in our viewers, and know that we love you, to our viewers, we appreciate you, and we're here for you. This morning, because I'm on this health journey, and I've upgraded thanks to a dear friend. Thank you for those accountable friends. I'm doing this yoga in the morning, which sometimes it's quite a pull. It's beautiful. Yoga's life, first of all, because it gives me everything. But literally, while in the midst of yoga, I transcended into this deep prayer. It was like I was in war mode because looking at all things that are happening, I'm like, God, please, we can't take no more of Captain Orange. But it just like, please. But I really went deep off into it, and I really kind of stayed there until I kind of just mellowed out. But yoga has been an amazing attribute, and just a great addition to my life. I've done it before, but never really enthralled myself into it. But now that I'm really doing it, and I'm feeling and seeing atonement, and at the end, because I have the app on my Apple TV system, and at the end they always say, after they get you back to a calm position and place, they say, now open your eyes to this position in this place where you are, and let this flow throughout your day, this positive energy. So I'm like, okay, I needed that. But so overall, hey, I'm here. But hey, Steven, my brother from another mother, what's going on, man? What's the tea? And Steve,
yeah. First, I love yoga. Sorry, I was honest. I said, guys, if you're at home, I'm sorry if I'm skipping around. My internet connection is being weird, and I lost the last little bit when I got called upon.
We got you, brother. We got you.
All right. I'm doing my best. I'm staying focused. I'm like laser. Like,
it's all right. That gave me joy. Thank you.
Hey, first off, just say I love yoga. I'm a big believer in it, and even like the hippier the better. I got all kinds of fucking clothes. Sorry, I got all kinds of clothes for it. I like
Yeah.
it when the like the singing bowl. I like the incense. I like chanting. I like all of it, and
Yeah.
it really does like compound the more you get into it. So you know, keep
I
going.
have to
It
say, quick
only
interjection,
gets
Stephen.
deeper.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's like whether you do an hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes of it, it consumes you.
Mm-hmm.
Even when
Right.
I kind of dabbled with it before, and I did like maybe 15 to 30 minutes, or and then sometimes I would do an hour before
Right.
I even started this journey, and I was like, wow, just it's
Yeah.
like you think you're just putting your foot in the water, but actually it just consumes you, literally.
Right. Yeah. And if you can really like keep your mind in the now, like in the positions in your breath, especially in your breath, as opposed to what you're going to be doing afterwards, what you've done before, whether or not you had like eaten too much or eaten too little, or whether or not you got plans or whatever, blah, blah, blah. If you just
You have
stay
to
on
stay
where
in the
you are,
moment.
then
Hmm.
that is that's like the work of it.
Yeah,
As for
yeah.
me, I'm doing okay. I think I'm doing okay. I can't tell if I am resilient or
Uh-huh.
if I have entered a state of such nihilistic despair that I can't tell the difference anymore. But either way, I feel
Hey,
okay.
But not
I'm
nihilistic
making
despair.
clothing.
right.
I'm making nose. We all gonna die. So like, who cares? The
Stephen, you are epic.
the
I
you
love
know,
it.
in the meantime, I'm making clothes. Uh,
Yes, yes. Come on
and
here.
that's
See,
it. That's my new paint by numbers. I'm the old sewing machine. So
yeah.
we're having fun. Just bought this so I can do needlepoint at some point, but
All right
who
now.
knows?
Look at you, all grown up. Look at you.
I, I'm
How
not
you?
messing around.
Yeah,
You
I'm like,
you're not playing. You are
you
not
are
playing.
on your
I have
way.
I have a sip for the cheers, brother.
Right, cheers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, are you
Keep
on
up.
your way to becoming Amish? Because you are like becoming
I promise you. I
beyond,
promise you. It's like yes.
you are becoming beyond self-sufficient in things that no one thinks about that you're going to need in emergency.
I
Like
promise you.
going to quarantine, Steven is going to be like,
Right.
I'm not going to need a shirt. Let me sew these underwear
Good.
together real quick.
Like,
Right.
thinking it all.
Let me make you some socks
Yeah.
to go with your accessories, please.
Right.
Thanks. I tell you, Stephen is a gift that keeps on giving. I promise you.
Oh my god!
That is my goal. Oh my god.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, and
Um,
last but not least, Mr. Andre, how art thou?
I'm good.
Good,
Much better than last week. I can say.
good.
Um, but yeah, I totally understand where Steven's coming from. That resilience thing is like the burning fuel kind of right now, especially here in New York City, because Cuomo and Blasio just can't get on the same page about things. And
Clash.
well,
Clash
and it's
of the
kind of like,
Titans.
it
Yeah.
feels like one of those kids is that moment right before you find out your parents may get a divorce. Like it's that all the time. It's like they're fighting all the time where you're like, just divorce or like move out or like
Get
separate.
it over already. You're right.
And did y'all see about the ferry?
Yes, I did.
That absurd. Wow, I'm really taking over for Jeff today. I'm gonna
Yeah,
stop.
Right now.
Settling Jeff down.
It's the signal thing. It's the signal thing. I'm sorry.
That's what it is. See,
But
that's what it is.
I didn't mean to corrupt your moment, Dre. I didn't mean to corrupt your moment.
It's okay. I was like, I just thought it was a white boy thing. I was like, y'all channel each other. It's the same power. Like it works. I don't know.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
But yeah, no. But I think the biggest upset has been now this whole debacle with the restaurants being able to charge you 10% and some 20%, up to 20% on your bill as a surcharge.
Yeah, when I saw that article, when you sent me that, I was blown away. I'm like, seriously?
before it was only supposed to be if you ate inside, but now
Okay.
it is to go orders everything. So, and they're giving restaurants the opportunity to either do it or not do it. But I'm like, if you're a restaurant that's doing it, yeah, I think your restaurant's going to close before Christmas because most New Yorkers have already like when you go, they've already raised the prices on the menu in general. Like it's a it's a dramatic difference. It's not even like like everything going up 50 cents or $1. Like even like when I order my regular Chinese order is normally like 7.50. Now it's $12.
Yikes.
Right. And so it's like, and then now you want to add the 20% as a surcharge for me to get the food. And so that means, and then I'm tipping. And so most people are tipping heavily to the people that are bringing the food because
Mm-hmm.
we already know in New York, if you are delivering food, you're not even making minimum wage. You're making money like you are a waiter. And so I live on the fifth floor, walk up. So I'm going to tip whoever's bringing me food. I'm going to tip them just because
Right.
I don't want to walk up the 5 flights. This is why I called you.
Right.
I had like a horrible experience on Friday where I was like, I'm not cooking anything. I'm just going to order some Chinese food. And so I order from my regular Chinese place. The guy delivers the food and doesn't have a mask on. So now I've been paid $17 for some Chinese food where I now have to call them to tell them I'm not going to eat this food and you need to send me more food because he doesn't have a mask. And then there was a dispute. They were like, well, he said he had a mask on. Well, I can send you that he didn't. I was like, my doorbell is a video camera.
Right.
So here are the pictures with no mask on. And didn't put the mask on. Like, I'm not even being facetious in the sense of like, he had the mask off, then he put the mask back on and then hand me the food. I opened the door with my mask on and he had no mask on. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I can't Lysol spray my food. Like it was, so that was my turmoil of the week. But otherwise, it was,
People are selfish,
right.
to say the least.
But I pretty much I had a great weekend. I had a virtual a phone date over the weekend in the COVIDness.
Ooh.
Actually really fun. It was a really good date. Like I was kind of tripping off that. I thought that was bizarre. But yeah, I had a pretty good week. Going into the new week, like yeah. The weather is weird in New York right now. Like because it's normally not this cold this soon.
Right.
Like normally we're still like we would be in Indian summer right now normally, and so and everybody be scrambling around trying to get ready for Halloween. This is the last naked holiday that you can actually be naked in the streets of New York. And
Right.
but it's too cold. Like this is like pneumonia weather, really bad. So
We don't even want to go there. Yeah.
scary. Just
Yeah.
a little scary.
And it's so crazy though, because on the flip side over here, it's just been heat after heat after heat, and I'm like, so finally now, starting today, we're getting back to California weather in the 70s. Because for a while it stayed in the high 80s and 90s. I said, I don't want this.
and see, I want it. Like I was feeling
I'd
like-
take some. I'd take
I'd love to
90s.
share it
I'd
with
take
you.
it.
I take
Yeah, I'd love to share it with you. But
I,
yeah, 'cause I didn't want it because I'm
Good.
like, I don't need any help
You can
sweating.
have some of ours. You can have some of ours. We'll take some of yours. Meet
Hey,
in the middle.
even swap, right?
so New York is, we're reticking up. California still has not really come down in Corona with COVID uh, results, but cities like Kansas City are having the highest record numbers. My governor just did a news outlet on MSNBC talking about kind of explaining to the American people how a lot of these states that are now like Oklahoma and Kansas City and St. Louis that are getting these new numbers, this isn't the second wave. This is their first wave. This is still the virus growing and spreading everywhere because of social distancing and quarantined and aren't wearing masks and aren't washing hands and like they're just not doing anything and they're putting up more of a fight to not do than to do, and their numbers have increased to crazy. So like can't stress it enough. Wear the damn mask. Like just wear the damn mask. I don't understand why they can't. But I do understand to a degree because so Dr. Scott Atlas, that is the White House representative for coronavirus, he's the advisor, put out a tweet on Twitter saying that wearing a mask, like there's no evidence about the masks that are going to be helpful. That mask works.
Didn't you mean to say Dr. Gavorkian?
No, his name is So Dr. Scott Atlas, the White House COVID-19 advisor, he got blocked on Twitter.
Yes, he did.
He wrote, masks work? No. Coverings are not supported by evidence. What he was saying.
And
but larger issue is there are like 220,000 plus deaths. That was just the deaths.
Right.
Here in the U.S. Right.
0.19 million cases of COVID worldwide.
Yeah.
That's like, how are you telling people? And like, and the problem is, I was talking to my date. We had this conversation about the COVID thing, and he made a really good point. No other country is having this problem about not wearing the mask.
Right.
Or if they are, their media is keeping it so on the DL. But it seems like everywhere else except in the United States, where we're the land of the privileged, that there's some choice not to wear masks or some choice not to think about your neighbor or your family members. And it's like, do you just not love yourself enough that you just don't care? What do you guys think about that?
Well, yeah, I don't know that it's. Go for it, Damon. Go for it.
First of all, the American people are spoiled. Let's just start there. Let's call it truth. Call a spade a spade. The American people are spoiled. It's just, I mean, time and time. And even to tie in what you were just saying, Dre, I was watching, before the show started, I was watching CNN, and one of the panelists was saying, one of the doctors on the panel was saying that the following weeks, especially the week of voting, as well as the one after, maybe even before, we're going into that full next phase of COVID-19.
Yeah.
And also along with that, at the same time, we're going into the full realm of flu season. He said, so this is going to be crucial. And he said, if we don't buckle down now, like some of the other countries, we're going to see double, if not triple, the numbers that we see now.
Right.
Literally. He was just matter of fact.
Something to remember is we keep talking about this as a once in a century pandemic, the Spanish flu part 2. The important thing to remember is if you look back at that, the majority of those deaths were the second wave.
Yeah.
They were not the first wave.
No.
And by majority, the vast majority. So it is something to take incredibly seriously. Now, in terms of how other countries are doing, I don't know. What they don't have is the debate. Whether or not people are slacking, whether or not people are doing things they're not supposed to do, that is beside the point. What's not up, they do not debate whether or not there is a right thing. You know, there is not this debate about whether or not masks work. We'll see, but also at the same time, it's hard to tell because they talk about it like, you know, Spain had a massive uptick, France had a massive uptick. It looks nothing compared to what we deal with every day. Like a friend of mine in Australia, her state shut down. You know, they had a bad week.
Yeah.
There were 10 deaths over the weekend. And it's like, oh, okay.
Only
like,
right. Damn,
right.
huh?
Like, oh,
Whoa.
you know, and so it's hard to see because that's the other thing, right? It's a bit of a distortion because the other countries take it so seriously that they're treating certain infractions the way we would treat them very minorly, like something that has not made national news. I'm curious, Damien, did you know that the city found out and stopped, or the state found out and stopped a 10,000 guest wedding in Brooklyn?
Okay, I was like, wait, so Steven, you went
Okay.
to the city
Okay.
and you went to
Steven,
Pro.
this is what you're going to do. You got me to drink, huh? Is this what we're doing? This is what we're doing tonight, huh?
You literally froze like
it's your way, buddy. Come on, pal.
Brilliant. It looked so staged. Like it was just literally your internet going out. But it looked so staged.
Oh my god. Damien, did you know that in Brooklyn,
I didn't know none of that.
10,000 guests.
10,000. Okay. Hold on. Pause. Wait a minute. I got.
You're wondering how anyone could know a small town to invite to their wedding? Yeah, I don't know either. But
I don't either. Yeah.
Okay, but now this is what I'm gonna say. Only because I have styled those weddings before.
Mm-hmm.
It's really that many people because it was the rabbi's nephew.
Say again?
So it was a really popular rabbi. It was his nephew that was getting married.
Right.
So this was like, so you have to think about in Hasidic Jewish community. So
which we have a heavy one out here as well. Yeah.
Right, so the rabbi's family getting married is like a royal wedding.
Yeah.
And then it's probably like trans congregational in a way. Like I know that I've done a number where it's like the entire congregation is there. It is a 670 guest wedding. Everyone has to get an invite.
Yeah. Well,
but
this
to
is
have
how they found out though. They found out because people flew in for the wedding. And so when they had to fill out the contact tracing form, because that's a $2,000 fine if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they were able to. It was too many people coming in for the same thing, and that's how they were able to shut it down.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm a little bit overwhelmed here right now because Steven just jacked me up. He pushed me to drink. Oh, hey, here I come. Because, yeah, you said, now let me make sure because I'm processing this here. You said 10, not 10, not 1,000, not 100, which all of that is bad in itself. But you said 10 with a comma and 3 zeros.
Mm-hmm.
In the midst of this pandemic where people are dropping literally like flies.
But
yes, there's also a protest going on right now because
a pretty little entry. First of all, they reported that a woman passed away from COVID on a plane.
Yeah, well, that's
Today.
happened.
Okay,
That happened.
that was in the past. I looked at that, Damien, and they finally
So yeah,
concluded
they were looking for
that
clues.
her death was coronavirus. But it was like in July or so. But I was like,
Right. But there's been
but
several.
even still, that's still during the pandemic. Then
Right.
also,
right.
then y'all president, Captain
Why you
Orange,
gotta be our president? Like,
because they sure as hell ain't mine.
like you don't live here.
Okay, cheers
Like,
to that.
you don't live
Cheers
here.
up. Okay. Mhm.
Like you don't live here. That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, I'm Pop Right Cherokee.
He's
So
all our problem. He's all our problem at this point. He's everybody's problem.
I don't
It
embrace
takes a bit. My thing is, this situation is very true. The Democratic Party is teaching the Republican Party that it takes a village. Everybody got to come together to vote him out. So
That's
Right.
very nice. That's very nice, and I embrace that. But
he's
here's my
everybody's
president.
problem right now.
But y'all president decided to go on doing one of his 3-4 rallies he had today with no mask, and he
Well,
decided
he's immune now. He's a superhero. He's kissing men. He's kissing women. Like he does it all.
Yeah.
He's a what? A super poop? Did you say hero? Oh, hero sandwich?
Oh my
I
god.
don't know. He's shaped like one, but hey.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. You're gonna make Steven scream. I mean,
that's my sole aim. I love to shake up the ground. But he decided to go on live and do one of his rallies, talk about CNN, because he started off saying, "Aren't you guys tired of hearing about the COVID-19? CNN is always talking about COVID this, COVID that. They just need to shut up, those damn little bastards." I said, "Oh." So even though the American people need to be informed, but you think, okay. So, but back to 10,000.
10,000.
First of all, Stephen, you really jacked me up. I just want you to know that.
But
I don't think people. Okay, this is my
They had
point.
a party in Queens that had 500 people show up to a space that only holds 250 people.
Well, I mean,
And these are our hot spots that these are the concentrated hotspot areas that they have put on big restrictions here in New York City because uptick had started going up, and it's like these people, they don't care. And for me, it was bad because, like, I'm not gonna lie, when they said 10,000 people, the first thing I said, "Oh, it's a Jewish wedding," and like I knew immediately it's a Jewish wedding. Like, it's a Jewish wedding. And so I was like, and then later on, they reported that it was a Jewish wedding, the rabbi, the whole nine, whatever. But the party in Queens, I was like, why can't my people get it together?
And unfortunately,
it's everybody. Everybody.
Yeah, because looking on social media, you have not only people advertising for their huge birthday parties, but also they're advertising for sex parties.
Yeah.
And all these other things. And I'm like, so overall with the 10,000 to the 500 to the, 300, here, the 200 there, what's the mentality of the American people? Once again, like I said, the American people are selfish and they're spoiled. It's like they have this Russian roulette mentality, it's just like, and they have no thought for tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I've just embraced that we're not going back outside for the rest of the year. I've just embraced it.
Going into next year, yeah, big literally. Time. Yeah,
I'm going to work on perfecting like a dessert that I'm not good at or something. I don't know.
Hey, crochet,
get yourself bobbins, get yourself some thread.
I can sew, so that's not a thing for me. Like I can.
Well, there you go. Get yourself
but only an
piano.
Yeah.
It's like
start playing tennis.
Create your own book club. I mean,
Food Network are like become all over again.
Listen.
And I'm gonna gain the freshman 15 all over again, even though I finally lost it from March.
I'm putting it on. Don't worry.
So I was like, oh, it's crazy. But speaking of travesties, craziness, and ridiculousness, let's go to our movie of the week.
You can learn to paint.
Yeah.
Just so you know. You can learn to paint. There's
Oh
more
my
shit to do.
God.
Oh my god. Vampires versus the Bronx. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, I don't freeze. We're having too much fun. Okie dokie. So, Vampires versus the Bronx is a new Netflix movie for spooky season, October. And it is about a group of kids who start to notice some disappearances coinciding with a real estate company starting to buy up a number of buildings in the Yankee Stadium Bronx terminal area. And it turns out it's the real estate company is run by the familiar of a group of vampires. And then the kids team up and fight the vampires. Eventually, the entire South Bronx community teams up. Well, no, but their neighborhood teams up to take on the vampires. So they become the vampires versus the Bronx. How did we feel about the movie? Reactions.
I thought it was cute. I like little movies kind of like that, even though I wish it could have had a little bit more to it. Because it was like, well, because the kids were cute, the vampires, and see, here's the thing: what a lot of people don't know about me. I love vampires.
Me too.
I have a major fantasy about vampires. They're freaking amazing. But it was like cute, but missing something there. I don't know if it was star appeal or it was better acting or more plot to the story. It was like, well, I mean, I enjoyed, overall, it was cute, like I said. It's a little cute, little funsy, little kitty, little something. So,
Right,
but
right.
yeah. So that's what I got from it. I mean, what I did appreciate is seeing our African American young children acting very well, and I hope that they get better and more through this and from this. So I did enjoy that as well as seeing the vampires. I was like, oh, vampires, ooh. But then it was like, y'all kind of weak. The vampire was like, I need a little bit more umph. I need you to, make the fear in my boots, but yeah.
Right.
That's
Some more protracted fighting scenes.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah. Dre, what about you?
So I am a huge vampire fan and have been as a small child. And so growing up as a preacher's kid, you're not allowed to like vampires because they're demonic.
Yeah, that's a devil.
My parents had to kind of steer me in a historian way. It's probably why I love history and things so much, and why I love the Egyptian culture so much, because vampires derive from the Egyptian culture. And so I was kind of, when I went in to see it, when we agreed that we are going to watch it, whatever, I'm like, Halloween's coming, okay, great, so we're going to watch this movie. And I'm not a very fright horror movie type of person. So, but love vampires. So I'm like, if anything, it's going to be either very sophisticated or it's going to be silly, like First Bite, which is this movie from the 1980s.
Right, with Jim Carrey, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. That's one of my faves.
It's funny, and
that movie and Love at First Bite. Can't forget that.
They make a joke of it, so it's either always very sophisticated or whatever. So then I was like, okay, I sat down, turned it on, and then I saw Zoe Saldana and went, oh, this movie is going to be bad. Because she now has the curse of destroying movies. Ever since she's done Nina Simone, she has not done a good movie.
And it's so funny because she even said she wished she hadn't done Nina Simone.
Well, I think she's trying to revert the curse the Dominican way. Like, but it was like
Yeah, she's
Zoe
put
Saldana,
she's put the squiggle back above her N.
yes. So like
Yeah,
Right.
Zoe
in the
Saldana
credits.
being, you know, the Dominican princess, where like her being the Latina Dominican princess,
Uh,
and being like the ratchetness of the Hispanic of the Bronx, like
mm-hmm.
kind of Cardi B esque, but not.
Mm,
It
Yeah.
was.
yeah.
I was like, from that moment, once I saw that it was her that was doing the nails, and I went, "Oh, this is gonna be bad," and did not fail me. It was bad. Like, I think the best part of the whole movie for me was the little black girl that I cannot remember her name.
Yeah.
The
That was like,
Instagram.
yeah, like she was the commentator.
Yeah.
Yes, she was. Yeah.
I was like, oh my god! And the reason I loved her was because what it reminded me of is, so growing up MTV, downtown Julie Brown was everything.
Yes.
And that's how she did her show. Exactly how that girl was doing it is exactly how downtown Julie Brown would come on MTV.
Very much so. Wow. Yeah.
It
Okay, I
was
see
very
that.
reminiscent of like very like hood but a little bougie, but we gonna keep it 100. Like, she was very that girl, and I loved her character. I
Right.
loved the Haitian girl that was like,
Mm-hmm.
she knew all the stuff. She was like, my
Right.
grandmama prepared me for this since I was born. Like,
Right.
this will happen. Like, she didn't need to read no books. She was
Right.
like, no. She was like, no, you ain't gonna be new video. She was like, they don't have no soul. They ain't got no reflection. You ain't gonna see nothing.
Right.
Like, all of that was funny. The funniest part was, I think the little boy, he liked her. I
Yeah.
think he thought he liked him back.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He tried to kiss her, and she was like, he was like, that wasn't that, right? Like,
Right.
Like,
Which,
Yeah.
like, I called it when she leaned in. I was like, oh, she's giving her the real tent hug.
yeah,
You know, the kind where you keep your hips out, and then sure enough, boom. Yeah.
it was really funny. Like, I mean, so there were like those moments. Yeah, like, no, like, I was kind of like,
Yeah. To me, what I think, it was like trying to toe this line, right? Of being of like a family movie and a movie for like young people while also doing this gentrification allegory, right?
Yeah.
And so,
right.
the vampires were like these white people. As these white people move in, you get Van Leeuwen ice cream trucks. You get,
right.
a vintage store. You get what I actually laughed at for quite a second was the butter store. There's like a store that just sells butter.
Right. You got
Well, my
butter.
favorite
But-
was going into the Hispanic bodega and buying hummus.
Right.
Hummus, or he's got oat milk there. I think
Yeah.
hummus is like, having oat milk is like bigger than hummus.
Right. I was
uh,
like, really? This is happening?
And then
Yeah,
he's
they
got
got
like
hummus.
kale, like he's trying to stay up. He's got kale. I got a different kind of kale. But they
Now, I did
they
think
have
it
to
was rude
stop
that she
short.
killed him, even though she didn't even have to pay for it, and then she killed him. I thought that was rude.
Right.
Like, it
But
was
here's the
rude.
thing, though.
You know,
the reason why she
agreed.
did it though, because she knew he had found her out. So,
Well, he was
Right.
trying to figure it out. Like,
yeah. He was like,
Yeah.
2 and 2 is not making 4. I don't get it. What's going on? Then when he
Right.
looked at how she
And-
had no reflection, he was like, oh, yeah. It was
Yeah.
rough.
I mean, I also think I think some parts that I thought were funny, and I couldn't tell if I was reading into it, but the fact that it's kind of how this Vivian character, she's like
Mhm.
the head vampire.
Right.
She presents, for anyone who hasn't seen it, as this very innocent like woman who's, she's just the white woman who's moved in and wants to get a feel for the neighborhood. And like, I think we're all being candid here. One of the things that clues you into the fact that like gentrification is getting really bad is suddenly there starts to be a lot of white women around, like
Right.
that. Yeah, and
But
so I
That's
thought
what
that
Ruby though, because you only saw her at night.
right.
You understand?
True.
You only saw her at night, and you only saw the familiar during the day. It was like, like y'all ain't even got this cover good. Like you need
Right.
some random white people just walking through the neighborhood. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
And they
Right.
I thought that was kind
Right.
of bizarre.
That would have set the stage much better.
That
Yeah.
it was like, but the white people,
Mhm.
the white people are only coming out at night.
Right.
Where
It's such a tough thing because like it's clearly like they were trying to keep the budget down, so we have no idea what was like in the original script. And maybe that had to do also with the fighting, why the fighting wasn't very good, and or
Yeah.
existent. The fighting wasn't there.
That's where I was with that. I mean, I said, you vampires are kind of weak. What's going on here?
they were weak,
They
but the
fill
best part was how they killed the
balloons
vampire.
with holy water
Right.
and nothing.
Right.
How they killed the
Yeah.
vampire was kind of funny. Like them
Right.
disintegrating, and
Right.
how he chose her at the end.
I think it
on
could
his
be like
bike.
more home. If they weren't gonna fight, it
Right.
could be more like Home Alone. Right. Yeah.
But then I'm like, well, then what
and so-
happens? I'm like, they had a really set up for a Vampires versus the Bronx 2 though, because she blows the ancestral dust on the best
Right.
friend.
Right.
And so he
Right.
only has to be scratched by blood now. Does not have to be another like.
I
can
wondered.
literally-
I was like, "Oh, is this? Are we going to start to get commentary?"
Yeah, because he could get bit by a bug.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Right.
Right.
bit by something for it to take place. So I'm like, maybe this is their setup for it. I'm hoping not. Fingers crossed. It was that bad.
Yeah.
It
I
was
don't.
really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was really bad. I mean,
Yeah.
okay.
I have a. It's fine, and like you said, Damien. What if there's anything that is like a very, very solid takeaway, is that
Right.
it is a movie full of Black and Afro Latinx people who are playing very different characters,
Yes.
which is rare for a movie.
Exactly.
And if
Very
there's
much so.
anything, we're seeing that.
Yeah.
We've
'cause
got
that was
everything
first
from
in my eye. Like, okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we've got the sort of everyman boy. We've got a boy that is trying to act tough, and then we got the other boy that's nerdy who has
Right.
blood sugar
He's a
issues,
little,
and then
yeah, brainiac. Right. Right.
we get different
Yeah.
kinds of adults, we get different kinds of women, we get
Which
a gamut that we do not
And I
get.
love the variety of mothers that was there
Right.
as well.
But I did enjoy the factor of how in these communities like that, there is always the store owner where it's like all the moms were single moms. So the store owner is the dad.
Mhm.
He becomes the father figure. And that is
Right.
I do enjoy that factor because that is a real thing that happens in Hispanic communities. And it does happen in Black communities too, at some point. There's always the one good dad that is everybody's dad.
True.
So
I
I like.
I also love that she was the only person who wasn't gonna let that woman into her apartment.
Oh yeah, that
Oh,
was.
yeah, Mama was playing.
But
You
that
want
was-
to get in here?
But that was a very Spanish Black thing in general.
Yes.
Black and Spanish people aren't trusting in that manner. Where
No.
when I open the door, I open the door. You be glad I opened the whole door
Right.
because
Right.
normally you get a crack. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I have many a
Well,
time
yeah.
my mom will hold a conversation with somebody in a closed door.
Oh yeah.
And I grew up in a white neighborhood. So I'm going, but many a times I
Uh-huh.
saw her have the whole conversation through the door with not opening the door at all. I can hear you just fine, baby. What?
Right.
It's,
Right.
right.
It was like
Speak a little louder. Speak up, baby.
black mamas don't just let you in
Right.
their house and they don't know you, especially
Right.
from
I
strange
don't know
white.
your kind. I don't know your kind.
And so when she couldn't come in, like, and she was like, she can't come in unless you invite her, so don't invite her. When he threw the holy water on her, the mother's face was like, I think the best thing that happened.
Right.
It was, oh, wait a minute. Like, it was that moment, and I think every parent has, where it's like, you think your kid is lying, but they're actually telling the truth, but it's so far fetched that believing that's the lie just makes it easier for you to process. And then you find out they weren't lying. Right. You're just like, as a parent, you just don't know what to do. And I don't even know how to protect you. All I know is you ain't nobody going outside.
Right.
Call your mama.
Right. Yep.
It was.
She went into immediate protective mode, parent protective mode.
For me, those moments were the best because it's something that I often like we've talked about insecure, but there are certain cultural things that happen that are often overlooked in movies, and they seem minuscule, but it's like, if this is your audience, if your audience is this movie is really set for a black and brown audience. This is not a white people movie. And so I was glad to see the details in behaviors that are normally very missed when it's not a black and brown focused movie. Or when it is a black and brown focused movie, but they want to cross over so badly.
But it's written by, or
out. Like they leave certain things out, or a certain direction is overlooked because they want a different audience, and their perception is then becomes stereotypical more so than the truth. And I'm like, it's not a stereotype.
Right.
It's real. Like if it's the truth, it's not a stereotype. It's just true. The stereotype happens when you're making fun of it and you're not following it all the way through. That's just my belief. I don't know. But speaking of vampires, well, one, I guess Stephen Webb. So I guess we have to figure out: are we keeping it?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think that because of the roles, the variety of roles, that we're getting to see, that it's like that it is a fun family movie that I think lots of people will be watching in this season. Do I think it did great? No, but I still like it, and I'm still giving it a yes. How about y'all?
I'm gonna say I didn't like it, but for what, like in defense of your argument, what you say, yes, I would keep it in the sense of it is family friendly, it is good for little kids, especially right now in the pandemic. I think it's starting to become hard to find things that aren't on Disney for you to watch with your children.
Right.
Because everything that's coming out, I mean, you don't want to sit down and watch the news with your kids. You don't want to, like, I think is everything that's really, really good is very, very sexualized. That is on all of the streaming networks. So I think this was a really good middle of the road family thing,
right?
Where it's like if I had to sit down and watch this with my kids, it would just be, we would laugh, like we would make fun of it.
Sure,
and we would have a good time making fun of it. So in that factor, I would say yes, keep it.
Yeah, Damien.
For me, it's all about the kiddies. It's all about the kiddies, not only in the movie, but as the both of you said, outwardly into the world, because honestly, this is what our life looks like right now. It's what it is. We're at home. Everybody's at home. Mom, dad, sharing, mom, grandma, grandpa. So you need something family friendly. And I see a lot of these apps that I even have, like HBO Max and Showtime and Stars and some others they have, and also Hulu, and of course Netflix. They have a whole list of, and also Disney Plus, of course, comes with the territory. But they have a whole list of family-friendly movies and shows. So for that, I'm going to keep it. It's a yes for me. Yeah.
Cool.
So
So if you got a family, check it out. Have some fun. You know, maybe you make fun of it. Who cares?
Family
Watch
Valentine's.
the movie.
Mhm.
Right. So I just want to be clear there that only black kids are not fighting vampires. There are white children out here in the world that are fighting real vampires in the world. And so this week, our Klobuchar Award goes to Caroline Giuliani, fighting her dad, the
Yes.
Super Lord
Yes.
vampire.
Yeah.
Caroline is like, which we talked about last week. I was like, I feel like we need to have an even balance. Sometimes we need to celebrate the Klobuchar attitude of taking
Yeah.
it down,
Klobuchar.
and because because you can clobber them across the head, and she really clobbered her dad across the head in Vanity Fair.
Whew.
She went straight to Vanity Fair and like pleading with the American people to vote for Biden and Kamala Harris. And she's done events with Kamala. She's like in full support of Kamala Harris
Yes.
in legislation. I think it's phenomenal. How are you guys feeling about the Giuliani takedown?
I think it's epic. I thought it actually, honestly, with all of the things that are going on, that's one of the positive things that touched my heart because I love it. And also, this is something that I live. I love it when I see the second generation step from underneath the umbrella and actually live in their own truth, live in their own identity, live in their beliefs, and live with truth, period. And so I applaud her, because first of all, especially with the heavyweight of our enemies, per se, that was something very courageous to do and very bold. So I have to applaud her and say kudos to you, baby girl, because especially when you're in that type of limelight, it's hard to step out. It's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
So for her to stand up, not only for herself, but for the American people as a whole, and encourage voting for the right side, for the more positive side, per se, so that we can get from underneath this realm of hell. So I applaud her. Overall, I applaud her.
So what about you?
I'm gonna be all right. So what I think you said that is very true is that she very certainly will need an intense security detail.
Yes.
Something I think is a hilarious irony is that the quote unquote like this hard right rails against the for free speech because a tweet of theirs touting some conspiracy theory gets marked as disinformation, but her speech, they'll try to kill her. If one of us were to walk down the street,
because they fight
if you were to if you were to go to Venice Beach, or if I were to go to Charleston and I had a shirt on that said Antifa, we could easily get hit with a baseball bat.
Oh yeah,
no problem.
Whoa.
And so like now, other than that, the bravery, I don't think it's going to matter a damn bit because I think maybe CNN's going to run it, sure, but did y'all see what was run on? I mean, they have a 24-hour news cycle, but on Fox News, one of her name, I don't remember it. It's like Maria something, ran this story about Biden being investigated by an FBI agent, which is a direct plug to QAnon, which the QAnon supporters tried to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. It's
Right.
It is a domestic terror threat.
Mhm.
It is a conspiracy. There is entirely baseless, and Fox News is now committed to sowing those seeds and stoking that
Because it's
like
the only thing
violence.
left. But
Right.
because what Fox News can't afford to do, which I'm sure has happened, their ratings have gone down tremendously, and nothing
Big
else.
time.
Fox News's money comes from the Republican right. It just does.
Right.
And so I think it's so they have to find something to combat it. It's kind of like it was bad, like the first debate. Fox is the only network that was like, oh, Trump was amazing. He did it. It's like, did you watch the same debate that we watched? But it's their job to promote not the president, but to promote the far right. That's their job.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
choice in this factor. And Fox is the only network that is not bipartisan. They are Republican,
Right.
Republican, and
Right.
Republican is party first, and it's it's just what it is. It's like Republicans are rejoicing right now off of kind of nothing
Right.
because everything is there. All of them are searching for something, so that way they have a dog in the fight until November 3rd.
And
Right.
to
Right
tie
now,
into that, because referring back to that interview she did, and she was talking with President Trump, and she even went so far to talk about Biden's, aneurysms or what have you. And the reporter, chimed back in. She's like, "Yeah, he does. It's on his website, but it happened decades ago. So it is true, but it happened decades ago. So they literally are doing that. Right? They're trying to find any type of bone, stick,
Right.
that they, shred of grass, they hang on to and throw in the, fire.
well,
And throw some fire.
our next topic goes to the fullness of that, and all three are nominees for the Negro Please Award. So
Yeah.
this is the whole conversation right now.
This is what pushed me to that
Vernon Jones, a Democrat, at a Trump rally, body surfing with no mask and amongst people with wearing no mask.
Mm-hmm.
So let's unpack that first. Let's unpack that first before.
Right, Stephen. Yeah, that right there.
We have to go from place person to person. So that is his crime. His crime this week, which I really feel like Vernon Jones. I feel like Vernon Jones watches our show, and I think he felt a way that he did not get the Negro Please Award from the RNC. I think he felt like he deserved it. Like he should have gotten it because he is the spokesperson for the intellectual Negro, which I don't know how you're that spokesperson because the intellectual Negro is wearing a mask and following science. It is not the intellectual Negro would never be caught body surfing. So help me. Somebody help me understand. Because, I'm an intellectual Negro. So I'm very lost. Is he having an aneurysm? Like, what is happening right now? Stephen, how do you feel?
Right. So what I feel like, what I'm very curious about, right, is the strategy. Because we have seen the people over at Crooked Media on like Pod Save America, Pod Save the World, they have drawn this like binary of Republicans who are coming out against Trump, and some of them are doing it, they said, for the country and for the record. Like one is like people actually putting their name on paper, putting their face to it, and the other are these like leaked phone calls, these sources being leaked and things like that just sort of have their name on paper later for when they're running after Trump to say, actually, I was against it the whole time, for the record. What I don't get is if all of these Republicans are doing that, trying to like set up for life after Trump, where they can show that they never lost their soul. Where any Democrat is thinking it's good strategy at this point to join the Trump train. Like I really don't understand.
Me neither. Damien, I mean,
yeah. After viewing that debauchery, all I blatantly saw was ignorance. And it's a level of ignorance that is just unforetold. It's just how? What kind of gimmick are you on? That was one of the events that took me there. Pissed me off to no end. Because I'm like, there's no integrity in this, which back in the day when I was coming up, politics and government, no matter how low life and scum and dirty as they are, have always been, but there still was some type of integrity and some type of decorum and respect here. But right there, that was Aliala Oxenfree. That was just a total, like I said, a wave of ignorance and disrespect to us as an American, African American people, as well as to the American people as a whole. It was like, so you actually, and then, as Dre said, you think you want to speak for us? Really?
So now I do have a theory. Like, I do have a theory in this.
Okay.
Only because I understand the power-hungry black man. I thoroughly get him. Thoroughly understand him. Because once you get a taste of power, you have to keep it. There's this thing where you have to hold on to it. There's no way around it. Like, you must be in power. And so I'm going to push back all the way to, for a respected Democrat to speak at the RNC means one of two things. You have lost the support of the DNC and you're switching parties, because we've seen this happen before. We saw this happen with Jesse Jackson.
Yes. Oh, God. That would talk about a crash and burn.
We saw this happen with Jesse Jackson because Jesse Jackson wanted to run for president. He had to change parties because he thought he would have a better shot if he changed parties. And pretty much is doing the same thing Vernon is doing.
Wow, so that's a great point.
Yeah. I'm thinking that, especially with Georgia becoming very woman strong and them really pushing women into the political arena and encouraging them to go even further, like Keisha Bottoms. Keisha Bottoms could easily fill his seat. Very easily. And it would be probably better for her to do that than to become governor. A lot of people kind of get mad at me when I say that. Part of the reason Keisha Bottoms being a governor does not utilize her skill set as well as if she was a representative or she was in Senate or she was in Congress. Because she is a baby Kamala Harris. She's an attorney, and she's a fierce attorney. She's been able to do things that other mayors in Atlanta have never been able to do because she knows the law so very, very well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And those type of people do better in Senate and Congress seats,
right,
and representative seats. not as governor. They don't do well as governor when you're a lawyer because you're kind of forced to have to play with the law and try to make the law work for you. But that's not her agenda. It's not her way at
Right.
all. And she's adamantly against doing that. So the DNC is prepping people to unseat him. So he can leave the party,
Got it.
change parties, and become a Republican because the Republicans will reward him for trashing the Democrats.
Right.
With
And it
no
can
law,
be
But then
highly
what happens is,
disrespect to the
but then
Democratic
we
Party.
go into the plan of so if he has to run against somebody else as a Republican, now we have the distinguished gentleman problem because name recognition is everything.
mhm.
So most people are going to vote for Vernon Jones because most people don't know that he would not think or know or remember that he changed parties. Is exactly what happened with Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson got so many votes in the primary because of name recognition, not because black folks didn't know the difference between the parties for real, for real. It's Jesse Jackson. It's a black person.
Right.
It's they're gonna do Georgia will do the same thing with Vernon Jones because name recognition. He is as a Democratic in Georgia, he has landslided for years. He spent over 25 years in service in the DNC. His name recognition is bar none. So most Democrats would vote for him as a Republican, not knowing they would vote for him as a Republican because it's his name. And it would be a question in the ballot. Wait, he's been a Republican? We've always voted for him. It literally will be that.
Mm.
So I think that there's a method to the madness of Vernon Jones. I think he is a national embarrassment. I need him to stop saying he speaks for black people, especially educated black people, because educated black people don't act that way. It's a hard no. But then
Extreme hard no.
then what happens is then you have Ice Cube, that is a registered Democrat,
Goodbye.
that is pandering anyone that's going to listen. That's really what's happening with him and his
Contract for Black America.
contract for
That's what it's
Black
called.
America. Yes, like that. I
Oh,
believe
that's what that is? Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's called. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he's doing. I think that he is treating it. I think he is treating his own bill that he wants to go through. One very badly because I think the idea of it, fantastic. That you're thinking out the box and whatever because you're in the grind with the people, and you want it better for black people all over because it is your ultimate brand coming from NWA and the whole nine, and even his movies and barbershop and everything is about uplifting the black community. So I'm on board with the idea. But what we all know and understand is you can't change the rules of the game until you learn the rules of the game. So you have to learn, like, you can't go in and play Monopoly without the basic rules. Now, once you get in, you learn how to cheat the system. But you've played the game at least 100 times before you know how to cheat the system. When you find out that, landing on free parking is brilliance. That the real money is not at Park Place and Boardwalk. The real money is at Mediterranean and Atlantic. Like you say, like you don't like, but you got to play the game so many times for you to learn how the game really, really works before you can start changing how you play the game. And so I think he went in with a great idea, But I think his celebrity privilege hurt him because he thought my celebrity privilege should be able to walk in to
Absolutely.
the government, I mean, to the president advisors, not through your Senate, not through your congresswoman, not through your senator, your representative, not even through your mayor and city council. Because California has real problems with the identification and restoration of Black people. So it would make more sense for you to work through the state of California to show the rest of the country that it can be done before you went this way.
To have a coalition of any kind.
All of
because the, for anyone who's watching that doesn't know, Republicans have this. They have the Contract for America, which is why they don't bend on any of their policies, is a contract they signed in the 90s that said they're never going to bend on a particular set of issues. And having that for Black America, it absolutely makes sense. But first off, the timing is like, come on.
Right.
And then, the Republicans that introduced the contract were major congressional Republicans in the 90s. It would have been like the Congressional Black Caucus coming out with a contract for Black America, not just a celebrity, not Arnold Schwarzenegger saying this is how the Republican Party is going to act from now on. And like what research went into it,
Well,
like
that was
what
where the problem went. The Black Caucus,
Right.
Everything that is in his contract for Black America, the Black Caucus has already presented. Completely already presented. And it has been sitting on Mitch McConnell, Paul Rand's desk since 2015, before Obama left. This has been these are the things that we want. And all he did was go in and give them a list of things to make sure we don't have. Where it would have been smarter, which, I mean, and even in just respect of the fact of his thing is, well, I'm talking to who's talking to me, but he only reached out to those camps. He didn't reach out to Black Lives Matter. He didn't reach out to Oprah. He didn't reach out to, like the coalition. I call them the coalition of Negroes. Like Diddy, Charlemagne, Jay-Z, they're all speaking Dr. Anderson's theories, but not listening to Dr. Anderson, which I find to be hilariously funny. Because Dr. Anderson is about building the Black community and us being able to reestablish Black Wall Street, because Black people in the United States are the only cultural group that does not have what every other cultural group has. So like there is not a state that you can go into and there's not a Koreatown, a Chinatown, and a Little Italy. There is a Russian area that is all their grocery stores and people that live there the whole night. It's not just a neighborhood. In every state, we have this. We do not have that for Black people. Not at all. Atlanta has probably been the most driving force in the sense of creating Black businesses for Black people and making sure that people work when conglomerates and stuff come. Like, everybody, I can't stand that Talisha, but that studio is amazing. To be able to broker that kind of studio and to actually give Hollywood somewhere else to go. Like, this takes me back to before. So remember, like, Disney was everything. And then Nickelodeon popped up out of nowhere and like took over for a minute. Disney eventually has crushed Nickelodeon. What's on Nickelodeon now? I mean, I don't think any of us have watched Nickelodeon since Keenan's left.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I think there's more than one reason
Yeah.
for that. I think it's not just the quality of their programming, but
I mean, but I'm just saying, like, in Nickelodeon.
But agreed. I have heard nothing of it. Yeah.
Nothing. So it's kind of like, So when you look at it that factor, I'm going, when you're not educated in the process, and I think this is where like every panel that I watched talking about the situation with him going to Trump, and it was really like, especially when you went through all this and you yourself have not sat down with Trump. So it's
Right.
like we went through all this. So pretty much the Trump administration used him because the focus has been, they know they cannot get the black women vote. They know it's not an option. It's not going to happen. But what the Democratic Party has been doing for the last couple of years, and especially during the Hillary Clinton campaign, they did not they disregarded black men. They pretty much thought black women are going to convince black men to vote for the Democratic Party. So we're not going to talk to them. We're not going to deal with their issues. Where there are more single black men than there are single black women in the country. That sounds crazy, but it's just the reality. And because black men are so disproportional in their voting, because like only 28% of black male Americans register and can vote, that don't have any type of felonies from holding them from voting. Out of that, only 19% are not voting with the Democratic Party. They're not voting at all. So this was what Trump administration is about. It's about machismo. It's about misogyny. It's about these men feeling that women should be beneath them.
Well, first of all, being from the hood and being born and raised here in California, for that brown skin mofo, now I'm talking for real right here because you gave great facts in politics. That's sweet, but I'm born and raised here. So I'm gonna tell you why it pissed me off, because I'm gonna tell you the real tea. Because see, being from here, knowing the ups and downs of this hood, let alone across the U.S. of A, when it comes to African American people, and in the cut, or as they call now, in the trap. So that's what it's called now. But being it so that you surpass Auntie Maxine, you surpass. I mean, there's a list of people here.
Yeah.
In Inglewood as well, here in Inglewood as well as in general Los Angeles, spectrum, that you just overlooked. You leaped and bound and planted your feet with that traitor, who, as you stated, was totally correct, and I totally agree. He's using you and playing you as a puppet.
Without even giving you the Kanye picture.
Not even. So it's just like, for him to make that bold step. And first of all, one of the things that just pissed me off, because I'm like, first he was saying, hold your vote. What you mean?
Right.
Well, they got that from Dr.
And
Anderson.
then
they got that from Dr. Anderson, though. So let's just be clear about that. Dr. Anderson has been adamant for years about, especially after Obama's second term, first term, Dr. Anderson has gone on campaigns and wrote books about how the African American voters should hold their vote for ransom, because
and that I know, and I get that, but I'm just referring to Ice Cube's actual
thought process.
Right. I get that, but from his video, to say that in this crucial time, in this crunch time, as even Steven said, the timing. So that's why I give him nothing. True. Number one, I don't give him even for, he got a plan. Don't say that. You can't say that on this show. But he got a plan. Yeah. Really? A plan. For what? for things that already have been on McConnell's desk for years, and that a lot of the African American leaders,
True.
political leaders, have already done. You didn't even take out the time to reach out to them.
Well, here's
who are in the game,
right? Because it's been passed. It's been passed through the House.
Right, passed over and over and over.
It's
one of, I mean, because even looking on, they had a panel on both MSNBC and also on CNN of black politicians who actually looked line upon line, precept upon precept of his plan, and they was all like, "No." It's been there, done that. That's what they literally said, and they also said, "If you're not in politics, you in other words, in a whole lot of words, sit down, shut up, because you don't know what you're doing."
Right.
You're out of your league. You're way out of your league.
And here's the thing: what would have been brilliant and would have worked for him if he would have reached out. So let's not even say Biden. Kamala Harris is your way in. If you were trying to jump ahead of the line,
at least
Kamala Harris is your way in, and the reason that is because Kamala is a senator. She has spent her whole time in
that
Senate,
part.
Actually working off bad doings that she did when, she was the representative of California.
Yeah.
As a DA. Like, she has really been trying to make amends for bad decisions. And
even with all of that experience, he could have went to her because she has all of that, the good and the bad, underneath her belt.
Well, and at the end of the day, and the Democrats aren't going to talk to you right now about this. And this is why they're not going to talk to you about this right now. Part of the reason we lost the last election, Democrats lost the last election, was because they were so focused on so many chasing after individual issues and forgot to worry about the vote. And they waited too long to push the vote. True. And the importance of the vote, because they thought they had it in the bag, and Hillary Clinton went in campaigning, but she wasn't campaigning. Mm-hmm. She was proposing governing.
Right.
And she wasn't campaigning. And this is why she really lost. At the end of the day, it's really why she lost. Hillary Clinton, people are like, why didn't she run again? She's not good at campaigning. It's not her strong suit. She's great at governing. She can govern.
Oh yeah.
She can come up with a bill. She can
works it now. Mama knows that her stuff on paper.
She can do that, but what she's not likable, and she spent most of her career trying to get the American people to like her, and they didn't like her.
Right.
I remember back in the day, like, where part of the reason she lost most of her majority support of women was because there was a split. There are women that just didn't like her and actually liked Monica Lewinsky better than her.
Right.
And Monica was the home.
Right. She was the home. Right.
And you got
at the time, Damien, that was the cultural perception. That is not how we view Monica Lewinsky now. She was being abused in the workplace. Come on, man. A 19-year-old getting manipulated by the president of the United States. Come on.
Well,
okay. When it's your 19-year-old kid getting manipulated by the CEO of the free world.
Impression by that. All that power.
Bro, I mean, look, I will stand up for 19-year-olds getting abused in the workplace. Yes, I will stand up for that in the moment.
I mean, and trust me, I get it, but
Right. But we just wanted to be clear at the time. You're going to try to get this show canceled before we even get picked up.
Yeah. Yep. Like I said, if it was my daughter, the news story would have ran not that, that happened with Clinton. It would be that I killed him. That's how it would have made it to the news.
Otherwise, that's how it would have ran. Right. That's how it would have ran that part.
Right.
That's like, we don't know what had happened, but he woke up dead.
But he's dead. Like,
and I think it's, and I'm not willing to give Monica too much of a pass because she kept a cum-stained dress for 3
Yes.
years.
Yes, she did.
Like we don't all have a cum stained dress in our closet. I mean,
No.
come on.
I mean, as fabulous as I am, and
That's
I
your
mean,
nasty.
both tendencies and all, but no, I don't.
That's
All
so
right, well.
nasty. No, I'm just saying.
All
That's
right.
nasty.
You know, win some, you
Like-
lose some, huh? Yeah.
Right.
I would
All
never-
I've been saying is I've been making lots of clothes. That's all I'm saying.
even to this day, I'm the first one to tell you. Monica Lewinsky asked me to dinner at her house. I'm bringing my own food. I'm not. I'm not. I don't trust her. She's
I don't trust her. I don't
She
trust
ain't
her.
clean.
Mm-mm.
You'll keep a cum stained dress for 3 years. You're not.
That
clean.
part. Ain't no telling what else you done kept for years. So I'm like, I'm Gucci. No,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Not gonna
No,
happen.
ma'am. No, ma'am, Pam.
So I'm like,
Mm-mm.
so
Okay,
If it was presidential,
wait, let me check the weather.
Excuse me.
Hell no.
that cum was making $400,000 a year.
right. Right. So, like,
It made much money.
but
You
then-
know what money
Yeah.
that is. It have its taxes raises under Biden.
right,
I
so
tell
then-
ya.
Okay, so let me finish making my point. Then we had, which is a plethora of people, of women that are housewives that weren't going to support her because she stayed with him, which
Mhm.
made her seem power hungry and overly ambitious in her reach. So it was already doomed in the sense of, because oftentimes, you know, like Roland Martin had made a comment that kind of bothered me a little bit in his, with Damien sent me this clip to watch. And he was talking about how misogyny definitely played a role in Hillary Clinton's
Right.
campaign. And I was like, I agree. But what people don't understand is the misogyny, the majority of the misogyny was not men. It was women.
Yeah,
It was women
that happens all the
married
time.
to their husband saying, no, I'm not voting for her. She's not family for her. Like, she's like, it was that. It was, she stayed with him. She wants to be in power. Women full on saying, well, I know that I'm a mess when my period comes. How is she going to be? And I'm like, Hillary is old as hell. She in menopause. Y'all know?
Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah.
She in menopause.
Yeah.
She, you know, like, she's taking estrogen patches. I'm just
She's
like,
been there, done that, honey.
I'm
Yeah.
Right.
are
Yeah.
you serious? Like, I'm like, this is your argument? This is what you're saying?
Right.
So,
Like, do you hear yourselves?
so it was a disaster. Like, it was going to be a disaster. But
Wow.
Joe Biden actually, and this is where it went wrong and where it wasn't going to happen. Joe Biden has some of the most intelligent black minds in politics as advisors, as senior advisors, that on a consistency for the last 10 years have been on every commentated network of news in the fight for the black people. So there is a plan in place. Getting that plan pushed through is going to be Kamala Harris, because it's going to be the only way Kamala is going to ever be able to advance from vice president. It's going to be the only way.
Mhm.
It's why it's so vital right now. It's the most brilliant thing ever. What is their first agenda? HBCUs, where she comes from. It's also where all our educated people come from. The educated Negroes that Vernon talks about. It's where they come from.
Honestly,
So-
all of this it just bothers me. It just bothers me. So, like I stated earlier, I agree with everything that both of you said. But just living here and being in it and seeing all of the minute to great things that are in need of attention here,
Mhm. Right.
as well as globally, as we all see, and for him to just take that leap and like
Mhm.
act like he's the black Superman, I'm like, no. You know,
Right.
it was totally disrespect. It was totally out of bounds, and it was just altogether wrong.
Well, so
Yeah.
on top, so we're gonna deal with wrong. Let's go to our third nominee.
Oh yeah.
50 Cent. Ugh.
Oh, creflo dollar half cousin. Okay.
Not Creflo Dollar have cousin. I don't even know where to go for that. Oh my god. Oh my god.
It just hit you,
Oh,
didn't it, Steve? Because
oh my god.
I'm just saying,
Ay,
you know,
ay,
it's
ay.
like that. Now that right there, it was like, yeah, I have to admit, I got gangster. The West Side of me, the South Central of me came out when I saw that mofo. You know, especially the statements that he made on his official Twitter
So
page.
my question is, are you surprised though? I wasn't surprised.
No,
And the only
white women have been doing it
It's
for
not even
years.
about being surprised. It's
well,
just BS.
but this is why I wasn't surprised. And I didn't even think it was BS because I'm like, I've always thought that 50 was a uh, a pink chaser. I've always
Opportunist.
thought that.
Mm-hmm.
No, not an opportunist, a pink chaser.
I
Where
got you.
he's really believed that white money is the only money.
Because I
And
mean, it's just like his album, you know, "Get Rich or Die Trying."
yeah.
He
Right.
literally means that.
And so, but he also has made a full career off of being controversial.
Yeah.
Let's just go back to the first controversy that got him a whole Caucasian audience that he would have never gotten. So, do you remember when he came for Oprah and was trashing her? For her then to go and have a whole show and go to his house and meet his grandmama, and then he apologized, and that is 14 billion white women now talking to some, take me to the candy shop. That I'm just saying. He has
Right.
always been a shit starter.
Oh, the whole nine. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
In
That's his
lot,
life.
always.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's just, my thing is, and then like even with Power, it was like his role in Power was way too close to home because it's not like he's this great actor. I was like, oh, you're just really playing yourself and you just changed your name to Kanan.
Basically.
Right.
Because he wasn't loyal to anyone but his pocket. And
Right.
because he does not understand what marginalized taxes are, and because he's part of the 400 million club, he makes over $400 million. You're going to have to pay more taxes. It's not like they're going to take half your money away. You're just now going to pay this as much taxes as I pay.
Right.
Like
I mean, because
Like-
that's why I'm like, can somebody teach him marginalized tax? You know, tax.
Right.
It's like before he fully embarrasses himself more than he already has.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like for real, bruh. Can
Like,
you
first
count?
off,
Can you count?
all your vitamin water money isn't getting taxed at that amount.
That part.
All the money you already have, you don't suddenly have to pay taxes on that. Like
his contract with Stars.
So not
Right.
only did he endorse him,
right.
but he also is telling the black. He's telling the black people vote for Trump, and then he also said on his Twitter, "I don't give a if he don't like if Trump don't like black people." And I'm like,
Right. Which it is a almost a carbon copy of the estate tax business. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the estate tax is just like you shouldn't have to pay a tax to die, and it's like, well, you only if you got over $5 million do you need that. Are you paying a tax to die? Which the average American retires with $25,000. So I think the estate tax is fine. And so the idea that he is now trying to push people who don't have near his amount of money to then give up their power so that he can keep more of his is, well, it's capitalism at its finest.
At its finest. And so it is why, according to the poll that I posted on our Instagram, the winner of the Negro Please Award
is
Curtis.
Yep,
Right,
he's
fitting.
Finish.
posing and everything.
Curtis now. Cause I mean, just in it too, and just reading through his Twitter page, his social media pages, and he's just bold with it. It's just like, yeah, this plan that Biden has, oh no, it's just not going to work for me and the American people. So we must, if we want better life, we have to vote for Trump. Since when?
Right.
When that
Since
happened?
never.
Right.
Like,
Okay,
since never.
thank you. I need to know that.
Right.
Thank
Literally.
you. Just
So
ridiculous.
so here at CLS Speaks, we encourage everybody to make sure that you have your plan to vote.
Please.
Go early if you can go. If you not, I think it's already too late for you to request an absentee ballot. But so make a plan for you to vote. If you have an absentee ballot, make sure that you fill it out and you send it in. That is postmarked for November 3rd. I was like, you can go to vote.org to find out who your polling place is, to make sure that you're registered, and to find out all those information. But there is new information that is going on that a lot of people don't actually know about that we're going to go to, talking about where it's
Yep.
4 states, because we are in a selfie generation. And so it's illegal to post a ballot photo in Alabama, Alaska, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Kansas, Massachusetts, Michigan, Mississippi, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Wisconsin. Meaning, you cannot take a picture of yourself with your ballot showing any information. You also cannot take a picture of yourself voting inside the ballot box. It can also, because it is all part of their intimidation.
Right.
So you can't use that. So most polling places, like especially in Ohio, like Ohio doesn't have this problem, but most people in Ohio are, secret squirrels anyway. But all of the ballot places in Ohio have a selfie wall. So not only do you get a sticker, but there's an actual selfie wall that you, after you vote, you go over to take your picture at selfie wall. It's the only place you can take pictures in the entire facility. Everybody else, just take a picture of yourself with your I voted sticker. Or you can take a picture of you dropping your ballot in the box.
Oh my God, Dre! I've been sitting here watching it going, thinking that you were saying, make sure you understand that I voted sticker selfies are still illegal too. And I'm like, what the hell?
No,
What can we take a picture of? Oh my God. I was like,
no.
Oh my God! Yeah, right.
Only take a picture with the I voted sticker, or
Right.
selfie walls provided, or in front of the ballot box after you've dropped your ballot. It's the safest way so that your vote is not, because the Republicans are looking for
Right.
any reason at all
Any and
Right.
all.
not to count your votes, because mail-in voting has been a real thing.
Right.
Like, it's been a real thing.
And they can just, so if anybody's curious, they can pay companies to screen the internet for
you
these
out.
posts very easily. Very, very easily. I mean, I've done, in the event life, there are companies that I've worked for where it is so, like, the non-disclosure is so intense that if anyone posts from the staff online during the event, security will have them removed during the event. There are people, it's like, got your GPS, got everything tracked. It's not that difficult.
But because I do them in New York all the time, you can literally be sued. Like, full on be sued. Like, now the big thing that I've done, like so many I've done in the last 3 years, have been private weddings where the whole wedding is social media free. There is no,
Mm,
you can't be online, you can't be on Facebook, you can't use your Instagram, you cannot use your phone, you cannot take any pictures, you can be removed. The bride and the groom will sue you. There's an NDA that is attached to your invitation. So
love it.
when you turn your invitation back in, it means you're agreeing to the NDA. Like it's really real now.
Yeah.
So just I think it is let's just get Orangina out of office
Please.
so
Right.
that we can at
Yeah.
least attempt to pretend that normalcy is on its way back. Like we can pretend. Because
Right.
I feel like this is our life until August next year. This is what I feel like.
Oh,
I feel like this is because I was watching some
Easily. Yeah.
online tonight about even
Mhm.
about the vaccine, and it was like even if they approve the vaccine, there's not enough of the vaccine for it to really make a huge difference of matter, and then it means that they're going to be cherry picking, which then now we either go into a lottery system, or it is the wealthiest are going to purchase the vaccine for themselves.
right.
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
like it's going to be a huge issue. You
Or
know,
they gonna purchase that bleach.
Yeah.
Mhm.
well,
And yeah, I mean everything from like just manufacturing upwards of 4 billion doses
right.
to the fact that it's a lot. Some of the companies are manufacturing things from sharks
Yeah.
for their and so the estimate it would take an estimated 500,000 sharks to die to make the amount of vaccines. So animal rights activists are not having it, especially since the like protein or enzyme that they're taking from these sharks already exists um, in a form that doesn't require any animal cruelty, but
Mhm.
it's just not being looked into. I mean, there's so much red tape
And then after
before.
they get through the red tape, we have to think about the factor of they have to now do new legislation to forcibly make Americans have to take the vaccine
Right,
because you're not required. We have laws that require
right,
like there are so many children that are homeschooled that aren't vaccinated. The part of the reason they're homeschooled is because they don't have any vaccination,
right.
so they can't go to regular school because those schools that because federated
Yeah,
federal schools like schools that get government money say no, but
right. You got to get it.
wind
Yeah.
up doing is trying to enroll their child into a private school where then they can sue the school, which
Mhm.
then pays for the funding for them to homeschool. So like it's a big circle
Yeah.
of misfortune at the end
Right.
of the day.
And then yeah. And then people actually got to do it because you can't
Right.
see if somebody's got it or not. They have to be in a position where a doctor has to provide the forms. So it's only going to happen if you're like trying to go to college, if you're trying to, get a new job or something like that. And then on top of that, we don't even know how long it'll last. We
And they
don't
don't
even
get
know
it.
that.
I mean, like I don't take the flu shot because I took it and it made me deathly ill. I was in the hospital for 4 months. So I don't take the flu shot. I do other things to keep my immune system up, but because whatever within the flu shot does not go along with my body system. So what happens to those people that happens with, you know,
Right.
allergies?
People are getting sick now.
Right.
They've
So,
halted one of the things they've halted the trial because of a mysterious illness that they're trying to sort out.
yeah. So
Like,
so wear the damn mask. I'm just saying, wear the mask. This is
right.
going to be our new culture. Wear the mask. Find a cute mask. I mean, I have so many masks now.
Mhm.
That with so many different patterns and colors and stuff like whatever. I'm going wear the mask.
You can get them on Amazon for cheap. You
Yeah, and if
know,
you
Yeah.
don't want to wear masks,
18. $9. Yeah.
Go to any dollar store, buy a bunch of
Mhm.
bandanas, and tie the bandana around your face. I'm just saying, be
Boom.
a cowboy.
Done deal.
Yeah,
Like, be coppers and robbers. We all played it as
right.
kids. Now you get to play it as
Right.
like I'm
Go
saying,
to Ann Taylor, get yourself a turtleneck.
put it up.
Boom.
Boom, just cover the nose. You know, cover
Right.
the
It's a wrap.
So yeah, I'm like, it's just crazy. All of this is just so ridiculous,
Bonkers.
crazy. But I want to thank you guys for joining me again this week. It's
Yeah,
been
thank you,
amazing
thank you.
fun.
Thank you.
And all our viewers that are watching, thank you for joining in City Love Speaks, where so we have a bunch of great new things coming and happening. So starting on November 2nd, the day before the election, we will be introducing a new show on Instagram from Mahogany Steel Productions called Ratchet, Blessed, and Grateful, starring Damian Michael Williams, and the first show will be called Last Call to give you all the ins and outs and everything you should need to know about voting and making sure that you're out to vote on the last day before the election. We will have a special voting party here on City Love Speaks on election night, so we're looking forward to having you guys vote on that night. Make sure that you're tuning in to YouTube on City Love Speaks on our channel or on
Mm-hmm.
and Facebook, City Love Speaks. As I say every single week, if you don't love yourself, don't expect nobody else to love you. Have a great rest of the week, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.